Yo, what is up, everybody? It's Jay the Great here, and welcome back to another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex spoiler discussion. It seems like you guys enjoy these, so I'm certainly going to continue to bring them to you folks. And as we all know, things are starting to become interesting within the narrative of Boruto, right? So we're on chapter 8. Shout out to RagnarokScanlation.net for the unofficial translation. The official translation drops on the 20th, so we're 2 days away from the official one. So keep in mind that these translations are unofficial, but from my experience, they are quite accurate for the most part, right? So here we are with the cover page. We have Jura, right? The little caption here, the divine tree Jura approaches Konoha. So we can deduce that he's either on his way or will infiltrate the leaf in this chapter, which should be very interesting. The target is Naruto, who was supposed to be sealed question mark, right? So this puts that statement into question, right? Quite literally. So perhaps he will come into contact with Naruto, or somehow we will get at least an implication of what Naruto's state is currently, right? So we have the cover page, we have Jura, right? We have his design, pretty cool. He has sort of a human look, right? Human colored skin. He has obviously the renegades like the other Shinjus, and we have the title of the chapter, Pointless Matter, right? That could have several meanings. Right, so this is the cover page. I have no problem with it. Sort of putting the villain quite literally at the front of the heap, right? And we have Jura, who, from my understanding, seems to be the leader of the Shinju on the cover page. So that's what we have here. But let's begin this discussion. And by the way, folks, make sure to hit the like button if you do enjoy. It lets me know that you guys enjoy these, and I will continue to bring these to you folks as long as I see that you guys mess with it, right? So I really appreciate the support, by the way. Here we go. By the way, just ignore the ads in the corner. Can't really avoid those. All right, so here we go. I am your son. Come to me whenever you're ready. So he's discussing this with Mitsuki. There's no one that can replace me. So clearly he's trying to convince Mitsuki that his memories are deceiving him and that he is in fact his son and not Kawaki, right? S-U-N. Right, so. And you have Ida in the background here, perhaps either metaphorically or quite literally watching them and hearing this conversation. All right, next page here. Wait a minute, isn't he too cool? But this is bad. Okay, so now we jump to Kawaki, Delta, and Ida. Hey, what the hell are you waiting for? Keep moving and follow Mitsuki's trail. That bastard Boruto might get away with it. Please, let's wait a little longer. Okay, so Ida has something in mind here, being a little hesitant to go after Mitsuki immediately. Hold it, Kawaki. What's with that bossy attitude towards Ida? It's really pissing me off. Okay. I don't care what it does to you. You can piss off all you want. Kawaki's still quite disregarding of everybody around him. Perhaps that's a way to cope with his guilt for what's happening to Boruto. Who knows? But let's continue on. There he is in the woods a few dozen kilometers south of the main gate. Okay. I won't let you get away. Let's go, Delta. All right, so him and Delta are going to try and approach Boruto and Mitsuki's location. That son of a well, I'm off then, Ida. I'll make sure to give him a tough word. Thank you, Delta. Be careful and please take care of Kawaki for me. Okay, so clearly she still has deep care for him. Okay. Here we are. If Ada ever gets sick of you, I'll kill you instantly. Once I've done what I had to do, I'll disappear without a word. Okay. So power scaling wise, this is an implication that Delta at least believes that she's capable of killing Kawaki. Right? Perhaps she's incorrect. But obviously Kawaki has no objections because all he cares about is his goal to destroy the Otsutsuki, right? Once that's done, from our eye, it seems it doesn't matter what happens to him from his perspective, right? It doesn't matter if he dies or he gets ostracized after that's done. So that's just further indication of that with this small dialogue. Let's continue. All right, so we see them flying away. Then we see what appears to be a Tentail clone foot. And here we are with a Tentail clone. Not only has he just awakened to his own self, the transformation process of returning into a divine tree has already begun. Okay, you gotta be kidding me. The divine tree is said to be capable of sucking the entire life out of a planet. Do you mean the end of this planet is near? All right, so now we go back to the conversation Shikamaru and Boruto were having telepathically through Ino's telepathic abilities. So here we are with that. Not yet, not quite there. But if it eats me or Kawaki, it will be a complete divine tree, implying that if it absorbs an Otsutsuki and the Tsutsuki entity, then it will be complete. And chakra fruit will be produced. That's when the planet dies. Okay. Speaking of the divine tree, Moegi Kazamatsuri of the 10th group was eaten by a claw grime and turned into a tree. Several others, both men and women, experienced the very same phenomenon. What on earth was that? Okay. They're using their chakras. That's what's keeping it alive. I still don't know what their main motive is. Boruto, just how much do you know? Okay. So he's still hesitant, it seems, to completely trust Boruto. He's willing enough to do so, perhaps because of the odds and what's at stake, right? The literal planet is at stake, right? And he's come to the conclusion that perhaps his memories are deceiving him. So he's willing to engage in conversation, but he's still a little hesitant, at least from this panel here. Lord 8th, incoming transmission from Kawaki. May I connect you? Give me a moment. I'm receiving a transmission from another sensory team. Any concern that our conversation will be overheard? Every transmission is distinct and independent of each other. No need to worry. In this case, you're the only one hearing both. Okay. Sorry to keep you waiting. Sensory team, all right, connect me. Roger, Kawaki, Shikamaru. This side. What's wrong? Okay. Ada got a lead on Boruto's location. He's in the south of the village, not far from here. We're on our way now, okay? Southern Woods, huh? What's that Boruto guy doing in a place like that? I don't care about that. Delta will surprise him with an aerial attack. I'll go after that with a pincer attack. Okay. So clearly, Shikamaru is trying to keep up appearances and appear to not be aware of Boruto and not give the indication that he is doubtful of his own memories, right? So he's trying to keep up appearances and continue to make it seem like he's still on Kawaki's side, right? So easy, Kawaki, don't get ahead of yourself. That guy's now quite skilled. Wait for backup to arrive. Don't talk so freely, Shikamaru. You want him to get away from us. Okay. Later, Lord 8th, I'll keep you posted. Okay. Hey, isn't it about time? Alright, here we go. Hey, don't stop so suddenly. Weird, I can't find his presence. I believe he left, right, from this. He's using the hand sign. It appears that he has left. Right? So he has disappeared, what appears to be via flying rising. As we do know, it is interdimensional, right? As evident by a few chapters ago when he went to the Shinju sort of dimension. So perhaps he is in another dimension, or at least far away enough from Kawaki to where he can't triangulate his position, right? Because he says, I can't find his presence. So he's either in another dimension or theoretically far enough from Kawaki to where he can't triangulate his position. All right. Maybe he found out you were close. I never felt his presence, and I'm sure he never felt mine. He was gone before he could even sense me. Okay. Is that so? Then you're out of luck. Okay, so Boruto has exited. Now we jump to Mitsuki, post-Boruto altercation. Then we have Ida and Damon. Sorry you were here. I hope I'm not interrupting something. Okay. I can't believe you did that to Kawaki. That was unexpected. He was mad at me. Was he mad at me? I wonder if he told me to look for you, but the objective was simply to find Boruto. As soon as I found out where he was, he flew away. Okay. Getting angry at me would be a waste of time for him, wouldn't it? Hey, don't you feel any grief when you say it? Okay. Not at all. It doesn't matter much in and of itself. That's what I thought for a long time now. Okay. Ada, until I met you, I never knew what love felt like. Okay. Are you hitting on me? I think that's a waste of time. I know it's a false emotion caused by your ability, if anything. If it wasn't for this, I would have never had this wonderful feeling. Okay. So Mitsuki's aware that this feeling is false, and obviously everyone knows of Ida's ability to charm them, where there's sort of charming, subtle genjutsu per se. Maybe it's because I'm an artificial human created from scratch, and it's not just about love. I don't really understand myself in the first place. Okay. I didn't think it was necessary, as long as the sun that shines on me is still there. At the extreme, most things don't matter, even about myself. That's what I thought, but I was wrong. Okay, so Mitsuki, being right an artificial intelligence being, questions his identity and who he is, right? He's clearly fixated on his son, right, who was Boruto and post-omnipotence is now Kawaki. Besides that, he doesn't seem to have really anything figured out, nor is anything important enough for him to care at this point, right? He says most things don't matter, even himself, right? All he cares about is his son. That's like his purpose, is to be around his son, to protect his son, etc. Right? So being an artificial intelligence being, that's the only thing he really has figured out, right? From his own mind. Right? His ideology, he doesn't really have an ideology. With his only ideology really being protecting my son. Right? That's basically all his purpose encompasses, right? So it's quite kind of interesting to see him discuss this. That's right, I above all can't affirm myself. I'll end up losing sight of things before I know it. What the sun means to me, what matters the most to me. Or to help you realize it, right? It's good for you, isn't it? It might be a little presumptuous to say something like this, but I think we're similar in a way. Okay? As for why you like Kawaki, you don't know the reason yourself, do you? That's what love is, isn't it? Just thinking about it makes my heart pound. I don't care about the reason behind it. Okay. So the difference between Mitsuki and Ida, right, which I think is interesting, is Mitsuki questions his purpose. Ida does not. She blindly follows her emotion, right, which is her love for Kawaki. Mitsuki does this, but here he's questioning it, right? Here he's questioning it, and he says he can't affirm himself. And he's aware that he's questioning himself, but he's trying to follow it because which is indicated here. I'll end up losing sight of things before I know it. What the sun means to me, what matters the most to me, right? Which that is the sun, right? AKA Kawaki. So due to both these individuals being artificial intelligence beings, they both have these emotions that they don't quite understand, yet follow blindly to some extent, right? Especially Ida, who was willing to brainwash the entire globe via omnipotence. Right? So it's quite interesting to see sort of the inner workings from a metaphorical standpoint as to what takes place in the minds of artificial intelligence, right? That being Mitsuki and Ida, right? So it's quite interesting. As for someone like you who's forced to fake love because of my ability, you simply can't understand. You may be right, perhaps I can't, but I was scared. The person I believed to be the sun, when I felt that he might not be real, I was afraid of losing it. So perhaps he's having doubts on who his son is. Perhaps Boruto got to him more than we are realizing. I had no clue if that son was real or not. I tried not to think about it. Are you trying to say that I'm the same? You think I'm just a naive person who's madly in love with someone? Okay. I didn't mean that. Sorry if it seemed like I guess I was too presumptuous. I don't know, but can I just say what I have in mind right now? We're talking about love, isn't it a little emotional? Okay. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. All right. I am your son. There's no one that can replace me. I'd like to have a good long talk with you, Boruto. Interesting. So, Boruto's impression on not only Mitsuki but Ida has caused them to perhaps reevaluate where they stand, right? Because Boruto is just a very imposing figure, not just from a power scaling standpoint, but as an individual, right? So, it's very, very telling what's taking place. All right, so now we jump to the Shinju, the Ten-Tail clone right here. Soon, huh? All right, so we have Jura, and we have Hidari, the Sasuke lookalike. Here we go. They are coming out of the Ten-Tail clone, kind of like Code did when he approached Konoha at the beginning of the Two Blue Vortex narrative. All right, it's about time. Go ahead, Hidari. All right, so they both come out of the Ten-Tail clone. They are now approaching the gates of Konoha. Boruto's story, do you believe it, Shikamaru? I understand where you're coming from. As I explained earlier, this is a top secret mission. Don't talk about anything with anyone, no matter what you think. I get it, but Lord 8th, intruders. There are two people near the main gate verifying the chakra data. One is negative, the other one is data match. It's Sasuke Uchiha. Interesting. So from this, we can deduce the following. Hidari's chakra signature matches Sasuke clearly, right? Being a lookalike, that's easy to deduce. However, this individual, right, we still don't know who his chakra signature is replicating, but is no one within the leaf, right? Because the leaf has a database on individuals that have or currently live in Konoha. So we can rationally deduce that whoever this Shinju is replicating, as far as chakra signature, does not or has not inhabited Konoha, right? So that's very telling. Dad, okay. Where are you, Naruto Uzumaki? I don't know where he is, but I do know one thing, don't move. Now we have Leaf Shinobi here, attempting to defend the leaf. Understood, if If you take one more step, you'll be considered an enemy. You there, Sasuke Uchiha, right? State your purpose for intruding. Following the instructions, prioritize the evacuation of civilians. Shika-chan. Ida, sorry, but I'm in the middle of something right now. Can't we do it later? It's about the intruders. I saw them a while ago. Sorry for the late report. They are the Ten Tails, and somehow they have self-awareness. Needless to say, they are enemies of Konoha. So, as we all could have predicted, they easily dealt with the shinobi. They used this sort of like tree emergence ability, kind of like a wood style, right? Seems like the roots, perhaps, or the branches of the ten-tail tree, or some variation of that, has been used as a shinjutsu here. All right, look, Hidari, an old bookstore. This is great. Looks like we can expect some unexpected encounters. Is he here? Naruto Uzumaki. Interesting. The key point for me is that you said that with a straight face. Alright, so it appears Kawaki has made his entrance. He tried to blitz him with his Shinjutsu ability. He failed. Hidari was able to dodge it, implying to an arbitrary extent superior speed, or at least relative speed to Kawaki, power scaling wise. Getting into that. We have Jura here. We have Kawaki engaging in a taijutsu exchange with Hidari. He's able to push him back, implying relativity in AP in taijutsu ability. Sends him flying back. He has to catch himself to stop the acceleration that was created by the shot. Now we have Delta making her way as well. So this altercation implies, even though it's quite short, we can imply that it is likely that Kawaki and Hidari are relative to some arbitrary extent. Right? We had Hidari react to one of his Shinjutsu attacks, and then we had Kawaki successfully able to strike Hidari. Right? Hidari didn't simply move out of the way effortlessly or anything of that matter. He was able to strike him and cause him to go back, right, due to the AP of his strike, implying relativity. So we have that. Who are you guys? What did you come to Konoha for? Don't cause a mess in front of the store. The treasure trove will be damaged, Kawaki. Alright, so Jura, it seems like, used his tree emergence ability again. He has incarcerated Kawaki within the roots of a tento tree or some sort of tree with his Shinjutsu ability. Now we have Jura attempting to strike Kawaki. He uses his Sukuna Hakona. He's able to most likely make himself small. Right? He's able to manipulate the size of matter. And then we have him trying to strike Jura from above. It seems that he strikes him, but Jura is quick enough to strike simultaneously and break what appears to be, the sort of arm that Kawaki is able to protrude when he's using his karma, right? So that implies he has a reactionary time and the AP to both react and counter Kawaki effectively. I'm not going to kill you yet. Stay put, Otsutsuki. Right, so Kawaki's shocked by his ability to do what he just did. He strikes Kawaki, sends him flying back, and he hits a water tower. Kawaki, there he is, Naruto Uzumaki. And as we know, Kawaki was one-shotted by Jura, right? So it only took one strike, i.e. this moment in this strike, to one-shot Kawaki and make him go unconscious, right? And clearly, Jura is confident that he can kill him, right? He says, I'm not going to kill you yet, to stay put. Like, he kind of disregards him as a threat, right? So from this, I would deduce there seems to be a hierarchical structure amongst the Shinju, at least power-wise. And I would even say from a societal standpoint, right? Because Jura seems to be the leader, right? And he appears to be the most powerful as well, right? He has a better performance against Kawaki, right? He effortlessly deals with his attack, then he one-shots him. While Hidari, had sort of a competitive skirmish, if you will, with Kawaki, as we all know, right? So it seems Jura is, in fact, most likely the most powerful of these Shinju. All right, so let's continue on. Hold it. Pull yourself together, Kawaki. Hidari found him. He's close. Are you sure? He's a Jinchuriki possessing a tailed beast. As an incarceration of the same tailed beast, I know what I'm talking about. I can sense the chakra of the tailed beast within him. Chakra Ditamage, it's Sasuke Uchiha, the Ten Tails. My master was absorbed by it. What's going on? Why did they come to Konoha? Alright, so now we have all the Genin here approaching. We have Chocho, Inojin, and the rest of the gang coming. We also have Himawari as well, older, and more than likely more skilled as well. All right, don't hesitate, even if it's Sasuke. He's the same traitor in league with the bastard Boruto. Don't worry, Himawari, I'm right here with you. Okay. So Jura makes his presence known. Hidari's behind him. Now we have Himawari. Who's that? Naruto Uzumaki's here. Weird, her body. What does this mean? So I've seen this on X and on social media, right? The theory clearly has been initiated by this moment. All right, Jura deems Himawari as Naruto, implying the same sort of chakra signature of the tailed beast. So people have been theorizing that Himawari also possesses the nine tails chakra within her, right? And from a logical standpoint and a biological standpoint, it makes sense, right? She is the daughter of Naruto Uzumaki, right? And at the time of her conception, he was still the Jinchuriki, right? She has the whiskers, which is synonymous with Kurama, right? Being a fox and having whiskers himself. And it's quite possible that she at least contains traces within her DNA and her chakra network of the nine tails, right? So that doesn't necessarily mean that Kurama's within her. It's theoretically possible, but at the very bare minimum, it is very likely that she contains nine tails chakra, at least traces of it, within her chakra network due to her genetic similarity to Naruto Uzumaki, who was, in fact, the nine tails Jinchuriki at one point. So that's why Jura mistakenly triangulated her position and thought it was Naruto. Right? Chasing after the tailed beast chakra, Himawari stands before them. Can you intercept the divine tree? All right, so that's the end of the chapter. I think it was a pretty good chapter. Better than the last chapter. Solid 8.5 out of 10, perhaps a 9. These first few chapters, like in many manga, are transition, sort of altercation, setting up chapters, right, for the climax, which obviously the climax is going to be Jura and Hidari versus Konoha, right? So we got a lot from this chapter. We got power scaling wise quite a bit of information to extrapolate, right? Jura is more than likely the strongest of the Shinju. Hidari seems to be relative to Kawaki. And Himawari more than likely contains at least traces of the Nine Tails chakra within her due to being the daughter of Naruto Uzumaki. Right, so we got quite a bit here. Now, I would deduce that in coming chapters, clearly we're going to see what Himawari is capable of right now as an older, more experienced shinobi. We're going to see what she's capable of. But more than likely, Jura is going to be unmatched. Right? I don't see anyone being able to compete with him besides perhaps Ida and Damon and Boruto. Besides those individuals, I don't see anyone competing with this individual. He seems to be the top of the heap as far as power is concerned within the Boruto verse at this point in time. Kawaki was unable to compete with him, got one-shotted by him, right? And it seems that it didn't take much effort for Jura to do that. Took one strike, right? Took one strike. Now, another thing I want to clear up, and it's not very important, it's kind of trivial, but I'll do it anyway, is the AP of Jura, right? People are making fun of him because he kicked Kawaki and it did less, and him hitting the water tower did less damage than like Naruto's Rasengan in part 1. Keep this in mind. Jura is clearly not trying, right? He's clearly not trying to kill him. He strikes Kawaki with I think it's a punch action, not a kick. He strikes Kawaki with a punch. He's clearly not trying to kill him. He's holding back, casually striking him, and causing him to come into contact with the water tower. Right. On top of that, it's not a direct hit to the water tower, but rather this is the highest point of the AP, right? And from a physics standpoint, air resistance and other factors will decrease the AP as Kawaki's being sent flying, right? It's more complicated than that, but in theory, that's what's happening. So just because Jura didn't completely obliterate the water tower when sending Kawaki flying doesn't mean he doesn't have high AP. Clearly he does. He's above Kawaki. And also keep in mind the restrictions of media, right? For illustrative purposes, the illustrators deemed this as the best way to illustrate this altercation, right? They didn't want to have to go out of their way to show Kawaki flying through tons of buildings and tons of matter, right? So simply put, they decided this was the easiest way to illustrate with a monthly sort of deadline, right? So keep that in mind as well. But overall, it's clear that we're going to get some very interesting altercations very soon. Clearly, Boruto will make his way eventually, especially if his sister and her life is in danger, right? Also, I made this observation as well. Ida and Damon more than likely will intervene because two people of interest are either already taken out or in danger, right? Kawaki is essentially the son of Ida, right? She's infatuated with him. And clearly, due to his current situation, she's going to intervene. Now, Himawari seems to be a person of interest to Damon, right? They're around the same age. He seems to be nervous around her, implying some sort of attachment to her. Hence, it's very likely that they as well will make their way to the battlefield and attempt to combat this Shinju. I'm actually very interested to see what they're capable of from a combat standpoint. Clearly, we know their hacks are broken. Damon can reflect intention, and Ida can charm you and brainwash the entire globe via omnipotence. Right? So clearly, from a hacks perspective, they are very, very potent and very powerful. But from a combat standpoint, I want to see where they stand as far as AP, speed, taijutsu, etc. So I hope we get a glimpse of that in the next chapter. I would deduce we will, due to the reasons I just listed. And Boruto as well will make his way, more than likely, very soon. So, yeah, folks, a very good chapter overall. From a power scaling standpoint, from an aesthetic standpoint, from a narrative standpoint. I really enjoyed the sort of artificial intelligence sort of struggle part, right, with Ida and Mitsuki having that conversation earlier. It really sort of illuminates the sort of the self-awareness that these cyborgs have, if that's what you want to call them, right? Mitsuki in a way is a cyborg as well. He's artificial intelligence, just like Ida and Damon, right? So he's aware. Because of that, they have these sort of identity problems within themselves, right? They know that they're just machines, yet they have these emotions they can't understand, right? Sort of such as Mitsuki with his son and Ida with Kawaki. They don't really understand it, but they follow that emotion somewhat blindly, especially Ida, right? Like I said earlier. So that I really enjoyed that part as well. So there are many aspects to extrapolate from that I enjoyed in this chapter. Again, solid 9 out of 10. Boruto is heating up, and I'm really enjoying and looking forward to seeing where the narrative goes. But yeah, folks, that's going to wrap it up. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as far as power scaling, as far as narrative. What do you think is going to happen next? Do you think Boruto's going to make his way? Do you think Himawari is going to somehow have KCM or something like that? Whatever your thoughts may be, make sure to leave them in the comment section below. And I'll catch you in the next one, folks. This is Jay the Great signing out. Stay classy.